Take a look at these clips of Fogged, a Challenger Tryndamere player, getting casually outspaced on Zaahen.
An ally has been slain.
Oh, you didn't grab him.
It's not necessarily his fault. Every champion in League of Legends has a base movement speed between 305 and 418. Removing state-based outliers, and Cassiopeia, it's a range of about 325 to 355. That's a difference of 30. Despite not sounding large, a base movement speed differential of 30 across the entire champion roster is enough to fundamentally establish vulnerability hierarchies for kiting, temporary movement speed buffs and dashes notwithstanding. In fact, stay till the end for the numbers that I ran because you will probably be seriously surprised like I was after I tested. Also, I hate to be this guy, I really don't like doing this, but last time I told you guys to like the video, it did really well. So, you know what, subscribing is useless, don't subscribe. But if you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Okay, that's all, back to the video, don't skip it. I'm back to it. In my last video's discussion about Zaahen's core items, I ran into what I thought was a bug. Shout out to all of you for correcting me that it was in fact a feature, but in that video, I pointed out that Zaahen's base movement speed of 345 is pretty standard for a melee champion. As such, and in the context of kiting or catching up to a champion, any champion with a tied or higher movement speed, or dash, slow, movement speed buff, or CC would be virtually untouchable to a Zaahen without cooldowns. Of course, Zaahen has two burst movement options, one stubby and the other telegraphed, a pull, fairly difficult to hit, and a knock-up that requires you to be able to auto-attack a champion. And on paper, while that means there are more kiteable champions in the game than him, in practice, once we see players get used to the champion and the matchup, fights are going to start looking a lot less like this.
Wow!
And more like this.
Okay, this Aatrox is pretty bad, so we gotta watch out. I'm just gonna get kited a bit.
And that puts Zaahen squarely in the Alawi and Darius camp of champions. If you know anything about those champions, you know their counterplay is just to walk away from them, and you're completely fine if they don't have flash and ghost up. And otherwise, you bait out their cooldowns, play slow around them, and focus them out before they can do any serious damage. The difference here, I'd say, is that while Darius has a pull that guarantees a 90% slow, Ghost, movement speed runes, and 1000 true damage nuke as a reward for landing all of those hits, Zaahen doesn't really. The power budget of Zaahen's kit is weighed heavily towards being completely indomitable in close combat, the trade-off being that you need to expend all of your chase resources in the form of ability cooldowns to stack his passive and access that power. And as you learn Zaahen, you'll find that that leads to a very simple issue where much of the time you'll be unequipped to deal with the majority of champions in the game that will out-kite you, outrun you, or in a team setting CC you and get you killed before you can stack your passive for your revive. Maybe even more dubiously, what if the enemy just walks away? So enough hypotheticals. Take a look at this. In each clip, I've kited a Garen to one end of the lane in the bot lane as Zaahen, and I try to chase them down and kill them. Pretty simple. I only have Q, and I flash if they flash. Obviously, we could play the game of, oh well, the Garen probably runs away faster if he uses his Q, and maybe Zaahen catches up faster if he has his E and his W, but let's ignore all of that. This very fundamental example shows that increasing Zaahen's movement speed advantage from 5 to 14 in this case is enough to guarantee a kill in a lane. And the only difference in my setup in these clips is the middle shard in my runes, swapped from adaptive damage to movement speed. Equipping this one rune before the game starts makes Zaahen faster at base than every champion in League of Legends other than Master Yi. An increase in movement speed tiers seems negligible at a glance, but in every clip I showed at the beginning of this video, it would have made a difference between landing one hit or not. And once we get good at Zaahen as a community, I think we'll find that much like Darius, finding the one hit is enough to make the difference between doing nothing and killing everybody. With League of Legends being such a deep and multifaceted game, I physically cannot get enough good matchup data to prescribe like Zaahen's cure to kiting, but what I can tell you is that movement speed is a broken stat in League of Legends. It is and always has been, and Zaahen's only weakness is that he doesn't have more of it. So, calling out to all people who want to play Zahen, try him out, maybe main him. Before each of your games start, even if you're taking recommended runes, make it a point to swap your middle shard from adaptive damage to movement speed. The elephant in the room here is that Zahen's passive currently boosts his AD, and missing the adaptive rune for the entire game will make you do a few points less damage on his auto attacks and abilities. That might be a big loss, but I raise you this. His passive doesn't do anything if you can't hit anybody. And can you believe it? That was actually the line I was going to end the video on, and then I thought about it, and that just seemed really weak to me. So I spent 3 hours making a spreadsheet documenting what Zahen's damage actually looks like if you bring the adaptive damage rune versus if you bring the movement speed rune. I'm not going to explain it all here, pause if you want to, but the very short of it is if you bring the move speed rune, and during any particular fight, you get 1 extra auto attack with it, it is a net higher damage. Not even to mention upkeeping all of your stats for longer and getting your res, whatever. Bring it, it's good. I promise it's good. And a super important final note for anybody who's seeing this long after Zahen is released and surely after he is nerfed into the ground, because he will not be this strong for the entirety of his debut on live servers. Zahen is a very strong candidate for the nerf hammer, and if his movement speed shard wasn't already best in slot option for his middle shard, future nerfs to Zahen's numbers from launch will comparatively make movement speed even stronger because of the compounding synergy that his passive has with bonus AD. I rest my case. See you next time. Try it out. Let me know.